Welcome back to Lost Legacies. I'm Matt.
And I'm Sam.
Another hot day in Texas, Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not hot enough to turn on the air condition, but since I'm recording and I have to close all the doors and windows, it's very hot in here. Oh, man. Also, I'm just a little hot-tempered today, Sam.
Why are you hot-tempered?
Today is day 2 of jury duty for me, and it sucks. Man, we were standing for hours in the hallway, and people who are like twice my age, and then there's like this guy who's he was like extremely overweight and walking with like a cane. He's just standing there the whole time. I'm like, dude,
man,
this sucks. Like, look, I get it. I'm all for civic duty or civil duty, whatever. I get it. You know, we got all the crap this country is going through. We still got it better than a lot of others. But at the same time, there is zero excuse to have this many people standing in a hallway for hours and hours. And then just to tell them like, oh, we're going to need you back tomorrow. It's
yeah.
Like, oh, man. Yeah. It's just going to piss everyone off, you know? It sucks, man. Also, never fall in love at court. That's my advice to you listeners.
Can you expand on that?
Well, because I'm standing there, right? And I'm watching everyone walking by. You can just tell who's the lawyers and who aren't, you know?
Oh, okay.
They're like,
yeah.
Some of they either have like that like shit-eating grin or the weary, I can't. I'm trying to keep up with all the changes in the world, and I just can't. I wish lawyering was the way it used to be. You know, it's like those two vibes.
Okay.
But then there were some very beautiful women who I'm assuming were some kind of lawyers or something because they're all dressed nice and they had their clients. However, and the reason this is too is because you have 75 people standing in a hallway. Anytime the door opens, everyone is watching whoever comes out.
Mm-hmm.
So all the doors or all the heads turn. This one girl walked out and she kind of had like this skater girl vibe, kind of short, you know, just very petite, whatever. And she was walking in and out. Nobody really thought anything of her. I was smitten, Sam, smitten. Cupid doth shot his arrow through my backside.
Oh my god.
Well, then later in the day, she walks out of court again, but this time with her lawyer talking. I'm like, oh, and even like the older lady was standing next to me. She's like, oh, she was on the trial or whatever. Like, because everyone just assumed, you know, she wasn't. Maybe she was a guest or something. Because I don't know. She just. It kind of reminded me, like when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, this is trouble. This makes sense for me. Okay, you know, it's kind of like the small dogs. They may be tiny, but that just means their bite hurts so much more. You know, and I'm like,
This is how we open a podcast about Lost.
Oh, well, this ties in directly into this episode of Lost, Sam.
Yeah, I guess it does.
Mm-hmm.
Aye.
So we're talking about season 4, episode 3, The Economist. Now that Locke's group has taken a hostage, the only chance the survivors have of getting off the island lies in Sayid and his negotiation skills. Actually, that's what I read last week. This week's says Sayid negotiates a deal with Locke so that he can reach the ship. In flash forwards, we see Sayid, now rescued, working as a covert assassin. Boom, just get it out there, baby. Sayid's on the job. What do you think about this episode, dude?
Fantastic, wonderful. Why doesn't Naveen Andrews have a movie star career?
Dude, I know. He's so good, man.
He's got the looks, he's got the charisma, you know, he can throw down. Why, you know, what, like I texted this to you. no disrespect to Josh Holloway, but why wasn't Naveen Andrews in Mission Impossible?
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
I think that does have to do with the role Josh Holloway was playing, though.
I mean, yeah, sure.
Like
You know,
he's supposed to be like that cocky, good-looking, suave secret agent who gets gunned down in an alley.
and Naveen Andrews can't?
Well, he can, but that's not what we want to see Naveen Andrews as. Also,
No,
we
you're right.
haven't seen anyone who looks like Naveen Andrews in that role. That's kind of the whole point of it. The pulling of the rug. Like, oh, we're used to the white hero saving the world. He's super cool secret agent. Oh, wait a minute, he's dead? You know what I mean? It's the same
Okay.
thing like starting Triple X by essentially killing James Bond.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. All
So
right then. All right then. You're right. I will
now, could he have
concede.
another role?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, he
I
should.
think he should be leading his own spy movies.
I agree.
Yeah. Oh, man. But yeah, just he shows up for 2 weeks, gets gunned down an alley. No, give this man some meat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. Like this was but like I'm glad you mentioned Mission Impossible. This felt like a spy kind of thriller.
Mm-hmm.
Um because I mean, I guess it takes place where? Mostly in Berlin, right?
Yeah.
That's what they said. So it's very, very cold colors until he starts to quote unquote fall in love with Elsa. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay. I
Mm-hmm.
completely forgot about this episode, so I had no idea what was going to happen. Um, but then once they like start getting closer, like they start using the warmer color palettes in the way
Mm-hmm.
they're filming things. But then it all goes to hell, man. At the end, when the spy got spied.
Yep.
So he reveals it, right? Yeah, he reveals that he's going to kill her boss.
Yeah.
And she starts freaking out, realizing he doesn't love me, blah, blah, blah. None of this was real.
It's all been a ruse
A
to get to my
ruse.
boss. Yeah.
And in actuality, she was just prepping the scene to grab her gun
Mm-hmm.
because she was like stalking him. Like, oh, like it's talk about a twist.
Mm-hmm.
Two twists. There's another twist later in the episode. But yeah, it just reminded me of a classic kind of spy film. And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
I like this.
My advice is if you ever find yourself in a Hollywood production, never fall in love with somebody named Ilsa. It never goes well.
Yeah, yeah. Especially if you're in jury duty.
Exactly.
But that was just really well done. So right off the bat, we find out Sayid makes it off the island. He's
Mm-hmm.
one of the Oceanic Six. So we now have four. We know four
Mm-hmm.
people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's kind of, I don't know. It's just weird because it's kind of cool seeing Sayid in this role. Like we've seen him as like that kind of like that tortured soul who's having to reckon with the things he did while he was in the military, and we've seen how badass he is. But then like now he's in it, and he's not hesitating at all,
Mm-hmm.
and he's really killing it. And it's like, oh crap, that's like the opposite of what we wanted, and that's the opposite direction his character is going in.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens?
I don't know.
What is interesting though is the first flashback. He's on a golf course, and they say where, I don't remember where, and
Mm.
he's talking to this guy about what he does for a living. He's like, oh, not much. I received a large settlement for surviving a plane crash. And the guy kind of starts freaking out. He's like, Oceanic Flight 815. So this guy, we don't know who he was or what he did, but he was somehow connected to that crash. And Sayid murdered him.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know why.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the flashbacks is this story of Sayid trying to get close to Ilsa
Flash forward.
Oh, flash forward. I'm sorry. He's trying to get close to Ilsa, and in actuality, he's trying to get to her boss to
Hmm.
kill. We don't know who the boss is, though.
Yeah,
Very
because he's very
mysterious kind of figure.
reclusive. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But that just kind of leads me to think, like, is he going after? I mean, he straight up kills someone who had some kind of connection to the flight crash.
Hmm.
So is he like? Is this vengeance? Is he just? We don't know. Like, not enough info was given to us,
Yeah.
but like he's somehow still connected to everything that happened on the island.
Hmm.
So not only do we not know what happens from the island to this point, but also like who's the list? Who's on his list? He's got a kill list.
Hmm. This is the stuff that like great seasons are made out of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what is this, episode 3? Episode, yeah, we're 3 episodes into season 4, and it's already my favorite season.
Right, totally. So far, my feelings have been confirmed. They have been
Hmm.
validated. I'm loving these 3 episodes so much.
Hmm.
Um, but also, it is worth noting that this episode definitely slowed down compared to the last 2, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
They really kind of let us go into more depth with the characters a little bit. Not that that wasn't there in the first 2 episodes, but just it was a different setting or a different tone. It set a different tone, and
Hmm.
I thought that was nice. It gave us some room to breathe without restricting us from like cool info or clues or hints or anything like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it was really really well done, and they found that balance perfectly. Yeah. What's how you doing on that?
He's taking Miles and Kate to go after Locke's group to get Charlotte back.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting too. Like Miles is very annoying.
Yeah.
He's a very brash character, but
It like definitely feels like one of those kind of like stock characters, or at least like when we're writing this person, they got one thing, this is their thing, and their thing is being a douche,
mhm.
Yeah. So,
Which
yeah.
I think is good because I really like I like the performance.
Hmm.
I think it's doing good. He's not the character might be one note, but the acting isn't. He's keeping
Yeah.
us invested. Also, the other 3 new arrivals, like they're kind of cool. So like I think you have to have the butthead in the group.
Yeah.
We can't like all 4 new arrivals. Um
But he's like the clairvoyant one, or not the clairvoyant one. He's the one who can talk to ghosts.
yeah, I
He
know.
should be one of the cool ones.
Mhm. Mhm. Which yeah, I don't know, which is really interesting, and it's like, okay, what are they doing here? We know they're
Hmm.
after Ben, but like why do you send the guy who can see dead people to an island where several
Hmm.
people have already seen dead people? You know what I mean? What's the plan here? Um I do kind of like how like there's not really a leader for these new
Yeah.
people. Not yet anyway, at least out of the 4. It's just Miles has the more like dickish personality. He's like, no,
Hmm.
we're gonna do this. I'm gonna pull my gun, ask questions later.
Yeah.
Charlotte's very mysterious. She's super nice, but you could tell like I don't know if
She's got secrets. She's got
yeah,
an agenda.
yeah, and I don't know if she's trained in that or whatever, but like she's really good at kind of keeping hush and like playing along. It's just the fact that the group she ended up with already knew.
Hmm.
They're like, oh, we know you're not actually here for us.
Yeah.
We know everything you're saying is a lie. It's like, oh. And Daniel Faraday, I just love this guy. He's just so quirky and weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just love all the acting choices this guy's making.
And
And
Frank is Frank.
oh, and Frank's just a dude. I
Yeah.
just like him. He's like, sure, man.
I like his moment with Jack where Jack's like, so did the Red Sox really win the series? And he's like, hey, don't start with that, you know?
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
like he wanted the other team to win, you know?
yeah. Oh man, he's probably like the most relatable character of anyone so far on this island.
Yeah.
He's just a guy who flies.
He's the pilot. He's got a cool Hawaiian shirt. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
he's a dude.
he's the blue collar worker on this show. You know,
Mm-hmm.
with this huge cast, he's the blue collar guy. He's like, all right,
Just furthering my idea that like these four are the Fantastic Four, and
yeah,
he is in fact Ben Grimm, the
yeah,
Thing.
exactly.
There you go.
Oh man. Okay, so I mean, I guess let's talk. I guess the A plot would be Sayid trying to get Charlotte,
Mm-hmm.
which I feel like not plot wise, we didn't really get a lot. I feel like it was setting up stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, Sayid, it's heavily alluded to that Sayid trades Miles for Charlotte. Well,
Mm-hmm.
that's for sure. But did Kate actually stay behind? Or did Sayid trade her as well? Like we never got a resolution to Kate's little story in this episode.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. It's just like, you know, Sawyer really calls Kate out, you know, on her because she, you know, she's trying to act all high and mighty, you know, with saying like, I believe Jack's gonna get us off the island, and Sawyer's the one who has to put it in perspective for her. Like, like there's nothing for him off the
Yeah.
island. He's going back to nothing, and Kate's gonna go back to handcuffs because
Yeah.
she was a criminal who was being transferred back to the
For
states
murder.
for murder.
You
Yeah,
know,
not
it's
like
not
for
like
tax evasion or something.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
no,
like
like you straight up murdered somebody.
you're going to the big court.
Yeah, yeah. You know, and like for some reason, this feels like the first time Kate has thought about that in weeks, a
Yeah.
month, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, yeah, that like it was a good moment because it kind of snapped Kate back to reality. Like, oh yeah, that's right. You
And
know.
she asks him, you know, she's like, how long do you want to how long do you think we could stay here and play house? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna play house. And
Mm-hmm.
Sawyer responds with, I don't know, maybe we could try. He says something like that. We could try
Yeah,
and find out.
yeah, something like that.
And that's the last we see Kate, like she's thinking about it. But she
Yeah.
doesn't come back with Sayid.
Yeah, so I feel like it's perfectly plausible that, you know, she could stay, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, they kind of set that up.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, we already know she gets off the island anyway, but
yeah.
you know, what happened?
You see
What's the
that? Yeah,
lead up
that's
to
more
that?
drama too. Like, so now she's separated from Jack and the rescuers.
Mm-hmm.
So how does she get off the island now?
Mm-hmm.
Um, dude, okay, so what about Hurley? Did you
I
think
kind
that
I kind of saw it coming.
really?
Yeah.
That surprised me. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my
Well,
god, it's like Hurley.
yeah. Well, yeah, because I don't know. It was the conversation with Locke in the jungle, you know,
Mhm.
after they don't find the cabin's gone.
Yeah,
Uh
it's moved.
uh-huh.
And
And
Ben calls
Locke's
him out on it in front of everyone. Like Locke's looking for someone to tell him what to do next.
mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Which confuses the heck out of everybody. And then
Yeah,
Locke's, you know, like, no, like we'll leave, like we'll just go back to the barracks. And yeah, like Hurley didn't sign up to take anybody hostage,
yeah.
but I feel like everybody just sort of forgets like who Locke is, you know, lest we all forget this is the man who killed Boone.
Okay, Sam, I want to pause. I need to ask you something.
All right.
He did kill him. It was kind of accidental, but
It
on
was,
purpose.
yeah. Accidentally on purpose.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you this in episode 1, but I kept forgetting.
Okay.
As Sam and Matt, if we were on
Mhm.
this island,
Oh gosh.
Would you go with Jack or Locke?
Well, it depends. Are we our age now, or are we
I think
our
we would
age
have
when
to.
we?
We have to assume we're our age now.
Okay, all right. Uh, I think my age now, my prerogative, getting off that island.
Really?
I think so. As cool and interesting as everything is, I think in my head I'd be like, you know what? It'd be so much more fascinating to be able to figure all this stuff out when I have the option to go home at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
and that home includes not a beach filled with people who have been trying to kill us for 3 months,
Wow.
people stealing babies, polar bears, dead people showing up. Maybe I'm lame, maybe that's just where I'm at in my life right now. I'm in my lame era, you know. It's 9 o'clock. I'm in bed. I don't want to go out. I'm not going anywhere. So yeah,
Hmm.
because I think, like, again, it's all about it's all about the beginning, you know. We just went through a harrowing, traumatic experience of surviving a plane wreckage and then having to come to the conclusion that we were way off course and they're probably not going to find us.
Mm-hmm.
And so in my head, I'm helping Michael with the raft. You know, I'm like, there's a radio. I want to go with Sayid to try and find the radio tower. Like, I want to do everything I can to try and help us get off the island.
Mm-hmm.
Mystery smoke monsters be damned. Tattooed sharks, get the heck out of here. I want to go home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see, like, it's crazy because, like, if just one dude like crash landed there on the island,
Mm-hmm.
like, what would the others do? Would the others just leave him to his own devices? Like, they would
You mean
kidnap him if he
like
was on the list? Like,
like the others?
yeah.
They'd
Because my
probably
whole thing is like, why do I gotta be dicks? Like, can it just give me a job?
yeah.
I'll carry my weight. I can keep my mouth shut. I can carry my weight, do whatever you need to do, and
Look,
then I'll take a sub back.
it's all about Ben,
Yeah,
you know.
and especially because Ben knows I'll never be able to find my way back.
Yeah.
So is it
But
just like
still,
the cruelty of it, or
well, I mean, they had the sub for a while.
and
And
they had
this
been using it? Yeah.
Yeah, and they had been using it. So like, and when Sayid finds, the secret room that's got a whole bunch of like passports and money in different
Mm-hmm.
countries, you can assume that this means that, they're capable of leaving this island. We've seen people
Yeah.
leave the island.
Yeah.
So I think anybody who crashes on the island, they're going to capture, they're going to vet, and they're going to find out, like, can we trust this dude? Because at the end of the day, if you find out there's the option to go home, you telling me you're not going to want to, like, try and get on that sub?
Right. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I think the reason all this is happening is because one, Ben kept talking about a list. We need to take these people. We need to take these people. They're on the list. I'm like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Two, they want the women for sure uh, to study like the pregnancy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that you have such a large group of survivors who aren't going to allow that to happen,
Yeah.
that's why all of this is going down. If it was just one guy, they're like, well, just do your own, just stay away.
Yeah.
Don't cross the sonic fence.
Well, remember when they first find Ben?
Yeah.
He's pretending to be a whatchamacallit, that he had a hot air balloon that he
Yeah.
was going out, and he stole that dude's ID.
Oh, that's true. They
So
probably
I
killed that
kind of
guy.
feel like that's what's going to end up happening to you.
Yeah.
Your plane's going to crash. they're gonna be hospitable for you for a little bit, and then what's his name? Ethan's gonna snap your neck and break every bone in your body,
Jeez,
and then they're
Ethan,
just gonna
such
use
a
your persona
butthead.
and story for
Yeah,
a whole other mind game.
yeah,
I think part of it too is that like we don't know what they're doing. You
yeah.
know, they're purposefully being written as this mysterious thing. So it's like we can't say
Hmm.
what exactly they would do, but I'm just gonna assume they're just gonna kill you.
What skills would I have to offer? Be like, well, Mister Ben, like this is why you shouldn't kill me. This is what I'm bringing to the table.
Can you bake?
No, but I would like to learn.
All right.
Uh,
Strike one. Do you like football?
no, but I could
That's strike
learn.
two. No, no,
Hmm.
no. That's strike two.
Can I join book club? Well, I kind of have trouble reading. Do you have it on audio? No,
Ooh,
snap,
yeah.
dead.
There you go. Every bone
Yeah,
broken.
I could run you a Dungeons and Dragons game. Let's be
Mm,
honest. Who on this island is running D&D?
I feel like, you know, sci-fi fantasy as this show is, there's some very like Christian cult vibes going on with the others,
Kind of. Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
I could see that.
Like
Also,
like like
Ben
I'm
would
not
be.
I'm not calling them like a Christian cult, but like there's a
Yeah,
lot of vibes that like this is kind of a one-to-one.
yeah. Well, especially if you think about like Dharma, though, that was very like weird hippy dippy stuff going on. I'm not so sure about the others though,
Mm,
but there is something spiritual about this island, which is why they're following Ben, and then they were following Locke until Ben shot Locke. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Um,
Ben, who also receives his orders from Jacob.
right. Yeah. So there's
So,
definitely some kind of spiritual element that's helping persuade these people.
mhm.
Um, Also, Ben would be the type of guy who, like, no, I want to do this way. Dice be damned. I would never run a game for that man.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um,
He's definitely the player who has also read and memorized the monster manual, and so anytime you start like throwing stuff that's different, you start throwing homebrews in it. He's like, it says here in the book that this is how many hit points they have. I've
uh-huh.
been keeping track. Yeah, that's what Ben
So,
is.
Matthew, for all intents and purposes, he should be dead. Why is he
Little
not dead,
homebrew, dude.
Matthew? I was like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, okay. So, to answer my question that I asked you,
Mm-hmm.
if we were both on the island, sure. I'd stick with you. I'd stick with Jack. We got to get home.
I mean, look, I should preface that like I'm gonna stick with you no matter what.
Oh,
You're the only person I know on this place. I don't
we're
want to. I
gonna
don't
we're
want to
gonna
go
go
anywhere.
we're gonna go play D&D with the natives. That's what Miles calls them, the
Oh,
natives.
oh God.
Okay, but here's the thing though. If I was alone, I think I would be making much different choices
Mm,
because there's a lot of stuff. I mean, just one of the reasons why I love the show, I think I would also just be like pulled into the island. Everything that's going on, like I need to know what's happening. Like I would have tried walking to, I don't know, wherever. If I found out there's a radio signal, we got to find that radio tower.
mm-hmm.
Why did it took them an entire 3 seasons to get to the radio tower?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, let's go. Well, granted, people trying to shoot you, smoke monsters and stuff. I wouldn't have known it at the time, so I probably would have died. But I think there's definitely something about Locke that would interest me. Like this man knows, he doesn't know what's going on, but like he's open to it.
Mm,
And I think there's something about that. Like I don't think I could leave this island like without figuring it out. Like I have to know. But the fact that Hurley and Sawyer go with Locke, that's kind of the deciding factor. Like I gotta watch Hurley's back. and I trust Sawyer at this point. Like I trust Sawyer enough to make the survivor's call. You know, like this
Mm-hmm.
guy's gonna try and survive, so I'm gonna follow his lead.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I would definitely be like not so much following Locke, but like I kind of be like on the same journey he is. Just I'm not the one talking to dead people and stuff, you know. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Also, because I think Charlie and Hurley would be my best friends. I think they're the most relatable. And I loved what Hurley said. Like something changed. Charlie's last message to us before he died, he changed his mind. You know, he warned us about these people. I'm like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's tough. I trust
Yeah.
Sayid to figure shit out. You know?
But he's not there.
You
He's
know what? I would just be chilling at the beach still. You know, come and find me. I'm assuming that's where Sun and Jin are, Rose and Bernard. I'm just gonna kind of wait. We
mm,
got open sight lines. Oh, that's bad though, because of snipers. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
I still think I would go with Locke.
Uh, yeah, I guess I'd go with you.
And again, not really Locke. It would be more of I'm following Hurley and Sawyer.
Yeah, yeah. Also, there better be Aaron, you know.
That's true, but Aaron can't make decisions for himself.
No, no. I'm talking about we got to protect that baby. We
Oh,
already
yeah,
know the
I
others are
guess.
after them, you know. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess we got to look after the kid.
Okay, sure. That too.
Oh my
That's what his
god.
mom's for, Sam. What group is Frogert not in? That's what I
Oh
want to know.
gosh. Yeah.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure he's not with Locke.
Is
So
he ever gonna?
that's a good reason to go with Locke.
Is he ever gonna show up again?
Huh?
Do they pay that dude just for just for one webisode, and then
Right?
that's it? Like, yeah, hey, his agent's like, I got a job for you.
It's
It's
on
like
Lost. Oh, cool.
3 days tops, 1 day to get there, 1 day to shoot, 1 day to come back. Like,
Dude, you could shoot that film like what? It was a they used two cameras to shoot that scene that was
mm-hmm,
like maybe 2 minutes.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, like oh man.
yeah. I mean, I guess like if it gets me on the show, give me that part.
That's true. He's like,
You know,
I'm technically he's in Lost lore. You know, he's in
yeah,
canon.
uh-huh.
Uh,
With the name
um,
Neil Frogert.
yeah.
God.
Okay, so what else happened this episode? I felt like it was a lot of side character talk and kind of getting, you know, some insight. And for freak's sake, I don't want to cuss. They finally closed Naomi's freaking eyes.
Which is that's not how that would work.
What do you mean?
That's not how that works at all. The like the eyes on you can't close the eyelids.
Well, I think if you do, it has to be faster. Like you know, to be uncouth about it, the body needs to be fresh.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
but usually in any form of media where somebody dies, you know, or like
they always
whatever
close the eyes.
soldiers, you know, they're always closing people's eyes and stuff. It's like by then it's already too late.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like rigor is already setting in. For Naomi, it's definitely too late. So I'm just
yeah.
like, she's been dead a whole day,
They
probably.
walked her across the island, like,
Yeah.
and the heat, the humidity in that place. Oh man,
Ooh,
she's stiff.
she's
Those eyes are
ripe.
staying open.
She's also
So
ripe.
yeah,
Um, yeah, yeah. Um,
maybe that's the power of the island, Sam.
it keeps the bodies fresh, keeps rigor
Yeah,
setting in.
you'll close your eyes when the island says you can close your
Oh
eyes.
gosh, when Chris Shepard says I can close my eyes.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh man.
uh, interesting scene with Daniel who
Oh
like sets up a
yeah.
little beacon thing and like runs an experiment to send a payload, whatever that means,
Mm-hmm.
to their position on the island, and it's off by like
I
An
think it was like
hour.
30 minutes or something, 31 minutes. Because when
Oh, okay.
when he compares the clocks,
Okay.
I was like, oh wow.
Yeah. So it's like, ooh,
So they
that's
shoot the little
interesting.
rocket and it never gets there. And she's like, yeah, it should be. Well, then the next scene, it finally arrives and they look at the clock. It's like 30 something minutes off. And he's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, this is bad. And then he tells Frank, he's like, just like this. He's like, Frank, no matter what you do not deviate from the course. You have to stay on that exact trajectory.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, all right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
hmm.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, because I'm also wondering if that has something to do with why they're crashing in the first place. They said they hit like an electrical storm or something, or so just
Mm-hmm.
things started going frying.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
So Naomi's body, Frank, Sayid, and Desmond are going to the ship because
Mm-hmm.
they found the picture of Desmond and Penny in Naomi's backpack, and nobody seems to know who that is.
Yeah.
I guess it was last season. Naomi said she sent me to find you or something like that.
Yeah.
But the new four people are like, we have no idea who that is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hmm.
Yeah. And they seem to say that it's above their pay grade. I think Frank
Yeah,
even says that. So it's
yeah,
like I can presume that they actually don't know who that is.
yeah,
And that may be just a uh what's the word I'm looking for? Like a rank,
yeah. And you
sort
can
of
tell
thing.
too because they've been pretty shady these past three episodes, but
Mm-hmm.
then it seemed pretty honest when they're saying, no, we don't know who that is.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, interesting.
Mm-hmm. I wonder. Oh, there is somebody on the boat who probably knows what's up. Uh
Ben's mole.
oh, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's just a name that they've like dropped twice. The Fantastic Four have. Uh,
That's what that's what we're gonna call them now.
yeah, we're just calling them
Yeah.
Fantastic Four now. Um, I forget something with an M or
Oh
something.
yeah, Mikowski or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, Mikowski.
You know, they
Um,
Mikowski answers just hang up.
just hang up.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, even though I think like just last episode they were saying like, if Miles was saying like he needs to talk to Mikowski,
mm-hmm,
and on the other line they're like, no, he's busy, he's in a meeting or something. It's like,
mm-hmm,
all right, interesting. So I guess Mikowski is maybe like leading the ship, you know,
mm-hmm,
like ship captain or something.
mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
Layers. This is a layer cake.
cake, and we're just getting deeper, man.
Mm-hmm. Getting deeper into
So
that cake. I'm
the
hungry, by
ending
the
of the
way.
episode was great because we got to see the helicopter fly off with the bird's eye view. I'm like, oh man, and then they just fly off into the ocean where we see nothing but water,
Felt like such a
like a victory.
yeah. Yeah, and the music's like not like super bombastic, but it's just like it's uplifting,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like, yeah, man, like I guess like when was the last time you saw somebody in a movie or a TV show like get into a helicopter and it meant something?
Mm-hmm.
People are jumping in and out of helicopters, cop shows, SWAT, Mission Impossible, they're doing helicopter fights, all this stuff. But like this was a moment, and I'm
Yeah.
really glad that's kind of how they choose to cap the island story, story A.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they choose to cap it, where it's like, yeah, this it feels like we're moving in the right direction. Now,
Mm-hmm.
story B obviously tells us that, like, nope, wrong direction. This was
Yeah.
bad. This was a bad moment. But yeah, just for us as the audience, like getting to see, and it's very focused on Sayid because I'm sure Desmond's often like his own thing, like I need to get to
Mm-hmm.
the boat, I need to find Penny. For Sayid, like it's a moment where it's like he's out,
Yeah.
he's off the island. Like when did he think that was ever going to happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Oh.
such a touching, beautiful moment. I
Yeah.
love the
And
show.
Saeed of all people, because he's such a badass, we know he can take care of himself, but we don't want anything that bad to happen. It's like,
Exactly,
oh man.
exactly.
Um, Yeah, and I had to make them note. I was like, this score is incredible because the
Mm-hmm.
music through that whole scene was just wild.
Michael Giacchino. I've really turned around on Michael Giacchino.
So have I.
Because I feel
Yeah,
like we were on the same page where it's like, of course, it's another tender, somber moment. So he's gonna do the slow piano thing, it's like,
yeah.
um,
We're
but
actually
just
seeing the growth
yeah,
of him as a composer and the journey of the score through this show.
yeah. And I still have, my gripes with some of his more like cinematic
Hmm.
scores, but I think just yeah, on the whole, just a very, very interesting guy, very interesting composer. Like definitely I
Hmm.
can see him, like give it a couple more years, like at least another decade, I'm sure like we'll be talking about him, maybe in the same, maybe not at the same echelon, but like within the conversation of like great American composers
Well, what's also
like John Williams.
fascinating is that he's directing now as well. And
Yes.
I think that's really cool to direct and compose your own
Yeah.
thing. What's his name used to do it? John Ottoman? Ottman?
Ottoman. Yeah,
Yeah, he did
yeah.
some of that.
He's an editor now though
Oh,
too.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah, editor.
I think like he directed a few, but his big thing was that he's composing and editing.
Editing, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, speaking of score, which is interesting too, because like it's funny how like we were talking about how this felt like an old spy movie, because the score really reminded me of like this triumph, this success, but it really reminded me of like some I don't know some old classic film. You
Hmm.
know, it doesn't feel like a lot of what we would get today. Uh, so I don't know. I really like that. But you want to talk about good scores? I'm just gonna go a little side quest here. Just to bring it up. Season 3, Star Trek Picard has begun.
Hmm.
The score is phenomenal.
Mm.
I think it's the same composer, but they're
Okay.
using in a lot more of the music from the movies and the previous series,
Oh, interesting.
and just a lot more classical music too. Like I was just watching mid scene. I'm just like, what? What is going on? Like music does kind of play a role in the first episode, but just the fact that the guy I forgot, I think his name is Jeff Russo. He infused it into like the rest of his normal like Picard score. Like it's really cool.
Hmm.
Big step up for the music this season.
That's awesome.
And so
That's
far
awesome.
everything. So yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, man. So let's talk about this ending.
Yeah.
Because Sayid even mentions it earlier. Uh what
He mentions it in a conversation with Locke and Ben,
yeah.
that the only way he would ever trust what Ben says is if he were to sell his soul.
Yep. Well, sure enough, end of the episode, it's revealed after Sayid gets shot and he kills Ilsa, it's revealed who he's working for, and it's Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Now, was he the economist? Is that what he was saying? I work
No,
for an economist? No, that's
no,
who
no, no.
Elsa was working for,
That's who
right?
Elsa works for,
Okay.
and Saeed tells her that he's not an economist.
Yeah.
So whatever he is, we can infer that like it's not good.
Yeah.
If he's got this double agent, implanted to, prevent people from getting to him. Uh, but yeah, he's on Ben's list. And yeah, Saeed, now we've confirmed Saeed is working for Ben, going after people on his list.
He's Ben's assassin.
Mm-hmm.
And Ben even says, like, you're doing this to protect your friends.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh crap. Okay, because we had talked about this. Everyone's lying from what we've seen so far. With Jack and Hurley, they made up some kind of lie. We don't know exactly what it was, but when they were rescued or something, the story of the Oceanic Six isn't the truth.
Yeah.
We don't know what that means yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we don't know the extent of the lie,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
And now her Ben is telling Sayid he's killing these people to protect his friends.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, which I mean, you have to, for sure. If you have something like we don't know like what the overall reach of the island is. Like the others, Ben, how are they doing this? Where are they being funded by someone?
Mm-hmm.
Is Dharma Initiative and what's his name, Hanzo? Are they still around?
Oh
Like
yeah.
they've already introduced all these elements. We don't know what's going on. Like everything we know about that lore was in the past,
Mm-hmm.
so we don't know what the modern day looks like. You know, so I'm like that kind of makes sense. Like how do they keep it quiet? And then whoever Matthew Abaddon's working for,
Mm-hmm.
sending the people to the island, and not knowing for sure, he has to ask Hurley if the people on the island are they still alive?
I don't know. Also, how does Charles Widmore fit into all this?
Right? Like, what's his connection? I'm trying to remember
Mm-hmm.
because he's Penny's dad,
Yeah,
right?
he's Penny. Yeah, he's Penny's dad.
And we don't know how Penny is tied into this.
Mm-hmm. All we know is that Penny is also looking for the island.
The island. So we
She's got
assume,
those two dudes up in the Arctic,
yeah, we
looking
assume
for
it's
the
because of
island.
Desmond.
Yeah,
But like, how did she figure out about it?
I don't know.
How did they find the island for however brief a moment that was, you know? Or
Mm-hmm.
does she still know where it's at? We know the
Mm-hmm.
people on this boat she didn't send.
Mm-hmm.
So is she sending other people?
Maybe.
Who
I don't know.
knows? Okay, MVPs.
Come on.
Gotta give it to
It's
Naveen
Naveen.
Andrews.
It's Naveen Andrews. Put Naveen Andrews in the next John Wick.
Ooh,
Put him in
dude,
there.
that'd
Have
be
him team
cool.
up with John.
I want him to
It's
be
like,
like, yeah, friends or something.
yeah. They're like, what even better? They're old rivals, you know, but all these other people are coming after John, and he comes in. He's the Hail Mary who comes in, like they have a cool like fight scene, like taking bad guys out. And then as like John's getting patched up or whatever, Naveen Andrews tells him, this is like, I swore all those years ago, you burned me. And I swore I would be the one to kill you. So nobody else gets that privilege. Something like that. So it's like you set it up as like,
Yeah.
ooh,
I
okay,
think it would be
yeah.
cool too if like he's already dead, quote unquote. He's
Ooh,
like,
Naveen?
yeah, he's like, I thought you
Ooh.
thought you
Yeah.
were dead. Like, so
Yeah.
he's got out of the life a
He
long
is
time ago.
excommunicado. He's
Yeah.
like doing all this assassin stuff all on his own in
Mhm.
secret in the shadows, and then he comes in, in the 11th hour, boom, saves Keanu.
Did you see the
Yeah.
latest trailer for
Oh,
John Wick?
yes,
Oh my
dude.
god,
They're
dude.
fighting in the Paris roundabout.
Oh yeah, yeah.
John Wick is doing his signature throwing dudes over his shoulders into oncoming traffic. It's
Mhm.
beautiful. I'm excited. It's a 5-star movie for me already. I don't
Yeah.
care.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
nuts. It's gonna
Anyway.
be nuts, dude.
Yeah.
Ugh. All right, predictions.
I had one too, and I was like, it was dumb. It was a dumb thing. Yeah. I just wanted to say it because I thought it would be funny. But I
Was
guess
it? Oh, go ahead.
no.
Was it like an on island prediction or a flash forward prediction?
I
Because I'm
think
also
it was an on island
okay.
prediction.
Because I'm also curious. Like we've been given very little flash forwards, but what we have been given has been like really like eye opening. Like holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just kind of curious. Like where do you think this is going?
Well, so here's my prediction is that like this whole season is going to take place within very 24 style, like the next few hours, days.
Right.
It's not going to be a super long thing. Kind of like where season 2 or something was supposed to be like a week or 2 weeks or something.
Yeah. Because 3 months over time, that was like 90 days.
Yeah. So I feel like this season is gonna be, and how many episodes is it? 16?
14.
14? So this season, very short, very concise. It's gonna take place in like 36 hours.
Yeah, I was gonna say because we're already episode 3, and it's pretty much the same day.
There was a night. There was a night.
Yeah, but they
Since
found
then.
Faraday at night.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this is like all happening the next day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So
So
yeah.
like Frank could have been on the island for like 4, well, it's probably more around noon, a couple hours, and then he's taken off again.
Hmm.
Hmm.
This isn't a prediction or anything. I don't think it's ever gonna like pay off or whatever thing. But look, what happened to Frank? Like we saw everybody like jump out, and Charlotte's hanging upside down. Daniel, shows
Oh
up in front
yeah,
of Jack and Kate. But when we see Frank, he's like crawling out of a bush with his head banged up. And then
that's
we're
a good
like, oh yeah,
point.
yeah, like where did it crash? And he's like, what kind of pilot do you think I am? And landed it right there. It's like, wait a second, did you just like stumble and hit a tree or
That's a
something?
good point. Was he drunk? Like,
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I just like I thought of it. I thought of it in episode 2. I was like, wait a second. That's not yeah, it's one of the mysteries. We'll never know.
it's the magic of the island, Sam.
Uh-huh.
Oh man.
Um yeah, so obviously, we're building towards 6 people getting off the island. We already confirmed 4 of
Yeah.
who get off,
Which is a lot
which
faster
is a
than
lot
I thought.
yeah, yeah. I figured they were going to try and draw it out, but I
Yeah.
mean, by episode 1, we know 3 of them.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure it's going to be a couple episodes before we get 5 and 6.
Hmm.
At least that's my thought. Um yeah.
That before you go on, that's something I want to think. I want to reflect on too. Like, I'm kind of curious because if there's 6 people, you're assuming we're eventually going to get 6 flash forwards. Well, there's 14 episodes.
Mm.
So are we still going to have flash forwards or maybe even flashbacks to other characters?
Yeah, I was going to ask that.
Because that's like lost thing. It was always flashbacks, and now this
Mhm.
season they've introduced flash forwards. So it's like, are they gonna? Except for like, they do it differently in the season finales and stuff because like
Yeah.
all the characters get something. But it's
Mhm.
like, yeah, like, are they gonna? How are they gonna keep it up?
Yeah, because I mean, the only flashbacks we've gotten this episode were from all the new characters, the
That's
Fantastic
true.
Four and Naomi.
I feel like they can still
I
get
feel like
flashbacks because we know very little about them.
I feel like that's how it's going to play out
Mm,
because you know it's it's um it's the Jack's tattoo of it all. It's like how
yeah,
many more flashbacks can we tell with these people?
yeah,
It's like now not every survivor's gotten a flashback, but the ones that have, they're core to the story. We're following them. So I feel like right now the writers are focusing on flash forwards are gonna be for the people we know are off island,
hmm,
but the flashbacks are gonna come from
the new
our
people.
core 4, like those new people,
Yeah,
and maybe even potentially some some of the others. Like it'd be interesting if we get another Juliet or Ben.
that's true. I feel like
You
there's a
know?
lot of there's still space there for
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
Also, I'm
So
assuming there's going to be more people on this boat.
true,
You know?
but I feel like that's gonna go the route of like the underwater station. Where it's like those are just people who are there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like I don't think that's gonna, at
Hmm.
least maybe, who knows, maybe Mikowski's gonna end up being a bigger character.
Yeah.
I just want to know where Mikhail is, where my boy Mikhail is. I want his flashback, you
I
know.
want the flashback of the polar bear who ended up in Tunisia.
Yeah, that's what I want to
It'd be
know.
very sad because we know how it ends.
Is
But
it the same polar bear? Is my question. Are there two?
well, there were cages,
There were
and
cages.
Tom did allude to there being several bears.
Yeah, several
So
bears. Yeah, yeah, who were
yeah,
all smarter than Sawyer.
yeah.
Uh, so
Hmm.
I don't know.
That's interesting. So I'm curious about that too. Obviously, this is such a big main cast. Even though several have died over the years, we still have a lot of people still alive. A
Mm-hmm.
lot more than six. So does that mean X amount of characters like their flashbacks are done? You know,
Mm, yeah.
that's gonna kind of be interesting. Like, obviously, I don't want to say any names, for spoilers. But like, let's say Froger. If Froger was the main cast, like, does
Oh
that mean
no.
his story's done? Like his flashbacks are done?
In Frogert's case, I hope
I
so.
hope so. That's I don't know. That's just I'm just thinking just as a storyteller. That's interesting because does that mean okay, we're only moving forward with this story, or is this story coming to an end?
hmm
You know?
I also want to know because I literally just remembered. And like we've always said, like nobody ever really stays dead on
Yeah.
Lost because sometimes they'll show back up. Like Shannon and Boone, they show up every now and then. Um, but I was just thinking, remember how wild it was when Libby showed up in a
Oh, in
flashback,
other flashbacks,
in
yeah.
other flashbacks, and we're
Hmm.
like, what? She was in the same recovery ward as Hurley
Hmm.
back in the day.
The mental
She
hospital.
she met Desmond
Oh yeah, she met
and
Desmond.
gave him money.
Yeah, she gave
Like,
him the boat.
oh, that's right. She gave him the boat. Oh,
Yeah,
that's right. That was yeah. So it's
that was
like,
named after her, Elizabeth.
yeah, yeah. So it's
Yeah,
like, what like, are
that's
we gonna get
interesting.
to see Libby again?
Right? Because there had been other like brief little Easter eggs and cameos in backstories.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there were there were a lot actually, but there was very few when it was like something big, significant.
Yeah, yeah.
Like Sawyer like randomly showed up in one of Boone's, and then um but then you start getting into like when we got into Anna Lucia's, who was tied to Christian Shepherd,
Mm-hmm.
who we had already found out was tied into Sawyer's backstory. So it's like it was all building that web.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
don't know. It's gonna be interesting. For sure, like nobody really stays dead on this show, but it's not really done in a way where it's like, oh, he's back from the dead. Oh, he's a
Mm-hmm.
ghost. Well, I guess Charlie was a ghost, but it was done really well.
Yeah,
It wasn't like a cheap thing.
yeah.
Um, so I don't know. That'd be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a character now who could see ghosts off the island. Who
Mm-hmm.
knows what's going to happen on the island? Uh,
Super quick because it also just popped in my head. The idea of seeing characters, dead characters, come back. Are they ghosts? Are they angels? Like
right?
I was just thinking of Battlestar,
Oh
where
yeah,
like several people died but then showed up again,
yeah,
or like they found out, certain things, certain events, and it's like I like it's just such a fascinating microcosm that like these are two shows that like came out around the same time, aired at the same time,
yeah.
and had like never really any crossover, but also I feel like had such a profound effect maybe on each other. Like it's the
Yeah,
weird thing of like these two shows are completely separate, and yet the symbiosis is sort of there.
yeah.
Battlestar was also heavy into flashbacks. There's this huge moral quandary, or at least not a moral quandary, but like this entire idea of science versus faith.
Hmm.
Their entire journey is based on faith.
Hmm.
um and then those moments get rewarded when they believe, because it's like, hey, some of this is true.
Hmm.
And that's exactly how it is with Lost, where it's like characters are fighting against it, and then when they open themselves up to it, hey, the island's giving you what you need. And it's like,
Yeah.
what is that? What is that if not faith? All of that stuff. So yeah, I don't know, just we'll
Yeah.
probably get to that later, closer to the finale, you know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
yeah, that's just where my
I don't
head
know,
went.
man. There was something just really interesting about that period of time to have both those shows on at the same time. Look, all
Yeah.
I gotta say is to anyone listening who didn't watch the second half of this series, so far, 3 episodes in, you're really missing out.
You're really missing out.
Because we've said this time and time again, so many people did not like the ending of Lost. But if you really talk to them about it, it wasn't really the last episode. It was the fact that like they had lost interest way before,
Hmm.
you know? And again, I stand by this. Like, there's nothing that happened in the Lost series finale that hadn't been building up to that point.
Yeah.
And now here we are watching it. And I'm like, dude, like, this season is so good. And we're only 3 episodes in. So
Hmm.
far, second half, the parts that a lot of people don't really think about, they're like, oh, start getting weird once they start doing the flash forwards. I'm like, you shut your face. That's when it started becoming great.
Watching Naveen Andrews play it up in a tux,
I love it. Oh,
shooting
I love
people's
this.
on golf
I love the
courses.
line
Like,
he has. If a man can't wear his tuxedo by the fifth date, why bother? And that's where we're going to end it, guys. Love having you here. Join us next week for season 4, episode 4, Egg Town. Kate goes behind Locke's back to arrange a meeting between Ben and Miles.
oh, great.
Interesting. I just want to know more from Miles. Like, who sent him? Why do they want him? You know?
Yeah.
And is it fully the truth?
Mm.
You know, like I kind like Miles is so hell bent on finding Ben. I feel like he might have more info than the others,
Hmm.
like Faraday and Charlotte. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're probably there for sure for the same things, but like he's been given more info or something.
Hmm. And this is a quick hypothesis, you know, potentially theory. But I feel like out of the 4, if anybody's gonna crack under pressure and talk, I think it's Miles.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Because you would think that it's Faraday, but I think
Yeah.
Faraday is more apt to accidentally say something, or
Right.
like
Right.
not really think like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that until it's too late. Whereas I think if it really gets to like push comes to shove, it's always those characters that try and like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm abrasive, I'm upfront, like I say what's real because it needs to
Yeah.
be said. You know, it's like,
Faraday is
yeah,
just gonna straight up tell you, I'm not supposed to tell you that.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
oh, okay.
yeah,
At least we know he's
exactly.
withholding. Yeah. So
So who knows? Maybe
We'll
that's
see.
what happens. Miles folds under pressure.
yeah. Okay, guys. Thanks for joining us. Hit us up on Twitter at hashtag Lost Legacies. Let us know any wild theories and or predictions you have, or if you just want to send some love. Feel free. I'm on Twitter at _Matt Jimenez and on Instagram at Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch.
And I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Real, that's REEL, Texas Weirdo.
Until next time, get lost.
Get lost.